Yeah.
I was wondering about the zoo locks and whether there might be specific controls that might be utilized to prevent invasive species moving into the Superior or out of Superior, or is it part of the bundle of all mechanisms that that would be common to throughout the largely the Great Lakes, as opposed to a specific control for the zoo locks?
Yeah, good. Well, the next presentation we'll hear a little bit more about the specific operation of the locks and how they work and sort of the mechanisms there. In other areas in the Great Lakes and actually nationwide where there are locks in a system, there are some simple management things that you can do that have a substantial effect. And at least on the U.S. side locks, we are already doing, for example, one very simple thing, we're keeping the lock doors closed when ships are not present. That turns out to be important because on the Mississippi River, where they were trying to block Asian carp from getting up into Minnesota, the simple act of keeping the lock doors closed kept Asian carp from just swimming into the open lock and essentially being locked through into the upper part of the waterway. So there's some simple things that can be done. In Chicago, we're learning a little bit more about some of the more complicated things that can be done. Things like the timing of opening and closing the locks and the possibility of specific control activities while locks are open. I know in the Chicago area the Army Corps of Engineers is considering different kinds of fish barriers at the locks, for example, acoustic barriers, bubbles, strobe lights, the kinds of things that can deter fish from swimming in and out of locks. With locks, we're talking about primarily things that can swim. The passive sort of thing like plankton, the larval stages, zebra mussels, the plants, are not so much a consideration for lock operation because they can't get past the flow in the locks anyway. But fish can be important, and certainly in other lock areas where there are locks, there are some things that are being considered. But like I say, our next presentation will talk a lot more about the zoo locks in terms of their operation. Not specifically related to invasive species, but in terms of the operation.